So, I don't know, all through this presidential campaign, I've noticed that there are famous people standing up for Hillary Clinton and her campaign, or previously for Bernie Sanders and now for Hillary Clinton and her campaign. And I got thinking about it, and I wondered why, and this is just a theory, but I wondered why these people who are famous and rich and have, wonderful, great lives support a candidate that is very controversial, very untruthful, has a lot of past history doing things that are kind of on the shady end of the, spectrum, and how they want to bash Donald Trump so badly. Some of them even gone as far as to say if he gets elected, they're leaving the country. And I think it's laughable. But I think I know, in a way, why these people follow her, or promote some of the more liberal stances on things. When you are broke, okay, when you have no money, or you live paycheck to paycheck, or just a little above paycheck to paycheck, you can be anything from practically living on the street to, having a house that you've got a mortgage on and a car payment and so on and so forth. But when you're in that frame of society, you see things much, much differently than somebody who has lots of money and can do whatever they desire. I myself have never had lots of money, but I have had more money than I have right now, and I know that there is a major difference in lifestyle between the two time frames. There are times in my life where I have gone without and suffered quite a bit for it in one way or another. These people may have worked their way up from being without, but they have lived in society where they are the haves, not the have-nots. And their perspective on the world around them is completely different than the perspective of somebody who has nothing, or little to nothing, or is in so much debt that they have no choice but to continue to do what they're doing just to maintain where they're at. These people could quit tomorrow, and if they were smart with investments, could live the rest of their lives on what they've already made. And I think that security, that knowing that you don't have to do anything else. You don't have to get up in the morning and go to work. You don't have to worry about whether your kids are going to have the proper education or health care. You don't have to be concerned with any of these types of things, whether your mortgage is going to be paid, whether you're going to have enough money to feed your family the following week, if you're going to get fired from your job or not. None of these things would matter to someone who has fame to some degree, unless there's some huge monstrous scandal about them. And even at that point in time, scandals sometimes make people more famous. So, in saying this, living a normal life where you get up and do a 9-to-5, or you're a small business owner, or you are, a farmer, or whatever, and you have to work hard to keep yourself above the drowning line, comparably to someone who gets everything handed to them on a platter. Yes, they do have to do work to make themselves famous and get to that point, but once you have that kind of lifestyle, it is very easy to forget how hard it was before you had it. And I think that these people think that they're, I don't know, maybe they feel guilty or have some sort of guilt over the fact that they do have so much, and there are people out there that have so little, and therefore they think they need government programs to promote those things, and so they follow a more liberal attitude. Or maybe they're afraid to offend anybody because they're afraid it will screw up their careers in some manner or another, and so they think that they need to be a liberal because, they don't want to offend the Hispanics, the blacks, the gays, the blah, 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 blah. Well, you know what? I don't care, personally. I mean, if I'm going to watch a movie, if you do a good job and you're acting in a movie or a TV show, I really couldn't give a hoot. I don't care about your personal opinions. You are doing your job as an actor or actress. And same thing goes for sports figures or musicians. You're doing your job. Your personal political opinion does not matter to me. However, if you happen to have a very ignorant perspective on what life is really like and you choose to speak it out in a public venue and make an issue of it and use it as a weighing point to show support for a particular candidate, then you're a piece of shit. That's all I can say. Because you're using your influence to influence the political system, and you are a tiny percentage of the population, but you have a big voice. And I don't think that is a good or fair way for politics to occur. And so all these actors and actresses and so on who are extremely liberal, I think it's partially because they feel they have to be politically correct to keep their careers. I think it's partially because they do not have a perspective on anything that is going on in society outside of their beautiful lives. And I think it's partially because, well, they rub elbows with people in society that, you or I would never rub elbows with. We'd never even come in contact with. And there is a certain set of rules, politically correctness, that you have to follow to stay in the in crowd. It was the same way in high school, if you remember correctly. And it's probably the same way for them in their little famous stardom communities. So that's just something I was thinking about, and I figured I'd share it with y'all because, maybe we need to stop worrying about what, sports figures, movie stars, musicians, etc. think about politics. And the only way we can basically make it to the point where we have an impression upon them that we don't give a shit what their politics view is just not to promote it, not to listen to it, not to worry about it, and dismiss it as unimportant. Because it really is unimportant. They are a very small percentage of society with a large amount of money and influence. But the problem is we give them the influence. So, personally, to all you stars out there who say that Hillary Clinton is your candidate and or you hate Trump, etc., etc., I say this. I don't care. I'm the one that sits here and lives this life and knows what 90% of people out there in the U.S. know, how bad the economy is, how bad things like Obamacare are, how bad the situation is with illegal immigration, and what a horrible idea it is to import people from another country as refugees without being able to determine if they are actually refugees or just ISIL people, ISIS people, Daesh, whatever the hell you want to call them. If you cannot vet them, they do not need to come in, period. We do not need any more bullshit in this country. And it is never these famous people that is affected by it. It is always us little people that is affected by it. In all of these things. The loss of industry, overtaxation, how this whole global warming thing has caused so many regulations on corporations that they've had to leave the country. And piled on top of the tax regulations that cause them issues and other things. Industry needs to come back to the United States. We used to be moguls of industry. And now we get 90% of our everything from overseas. We do not really make much of anything in this country. Very, very little. And some of the companies that are in the country that make, that do have industry in this company are not even U.S. companies. Their actual base of operations is somewhere else. So, we need to think about the people that actually live in this country, not the people that pretend on a screen or on your computer or out in a ball field somewhere to be living normal lives. Those people do not live normal lives. Those people live lives that we down here in the low end of the lifestyle only aspire to have. And we should stop aspiring to have their lives and start creating our own. We should be able to go from being paycheck to paycheck and being stuck in a position that we cannot get out of, because if we do, we will lose it all, like juggling. We should be able to rise up out of that. We should be able to take over our own lives and make them better, make them wonderful, make them worth living, make them special, and enjoy our lives. And the reasons that we can't do so are directly related to things like the welfare state, the crime that has gone on with the drug war, people coming in from South America who are unvetted because they're sneaking across the border, bringing in all sorts of illegal arms and drugs and transferring stuff back and forth across the border all the time. I mean, we really need to get control of this situation. And it's all fine and dandy to love your neighbor, and it's all fine and dandy to be equal with people, but I don't consider myself equal with the drug dealer who's carrying an illegal weapon down the road, who will sooner shoot you than look you in the eye. I am better than that person, and so are you, hopefully. And you know what? People like that are partially caused by their own raising, whatever lifestyle that they were raised in, but they're also partially caused by our government's programs and systems that have been in order since the 1930s, 1940s, 1950s, 1960s. It's just progressively gotten worse, and there's so much corruption in the system that we, the people, need to fix it. The stars out there, the rich and famous, the politically famous, they can't fix that because they don't even have perspective on what it really is. I can't have a perspective on living their lifestyle, but they definitely can't have a perspective on living mine. And so, you have to walk in somebody else's shoes to be able to actually know what it's like. And there are a hell of a lot more of us out there, us deplorable, irredeemable people, than there are of you Hillary Clintons and you famous people and you sports figures. And, I just think that, you want to talk about equality? Well, we outweigh you by millions, and we are what counts, not what your fake little actress and actor lives have in it. And well, that's it. I'm running out of time. Till next time, this is Truth, Human Lies Matter. See us on Facebook in our group if you want to join, and check us out on YouTube. All right, you have a good one. Bye.